blazing, perfect, unadulterated black light. If you believe in something that you don't understand, then you are bound to suffer. These are the words from Stevie Wonder's hit song, Superstition. If you believe in something you do not understand, then you are bound to suffer. Stevie Wonder's song, Superstition. And this is where, in particular, we find Jamaican people right now. Jamaican people are on the brink of yet another great deception to be pulled off on them by the deceiving criminal political class. And that's what we are going to call them, the deceiving criminal political class, because that's what the political class has always done and only done. Rob the people and deceive them. Now there's this big talk all around Jamaica about becoming a republic and the Constitutional Reform Committee. Now it is beginning to look like after 60 years of quote unquote independence, let us say that as two words, after 60 years of living in dependence, the great-grandchildren of the slaves have learned nothing. They have acquired no clarity as to the system that they exist in and how to effectively eject themselves from its grasp and control and to move progressively forward. They have learned nothing. Nothing has been demonstrated, no degrees of understanding. So here we are with Jamaican black people now. This thing called the Constitutional Reform Committee is another scam just like independence. If Jamaica is to go republic, then Jamaica has to go republic based on a memorandum from the people. But when they're going to put 14 or 15 people in a Constitutional Reform Committee, it means that the very same constitution that was given to you by the British Crown, they are now going to purport to remove the crown from it, rather than craft an entirely new constitution, an entirely new. Let's be linguist. Let's be lawfully correct. Jamaica doesn't need a Constitutional Reform Committee. All these hypocrites, Marlene Malahoo Ford, and all of these dirty hypocrite politicians and lawyers, all are esquire. They all work for the British Crown. They're all, what do they call it? Members of the bar. Do you know what bar means? British Accreditation Registry. Now, one must also bear in mind that the word registry comes from the Latin word regis, which means to work for the crown. So these lawyers who work for the crown are the ones that you put total trust in to liberate you from the crown. Now, Jamaican people, check on yourself again. Remember, at 1962, at the purported independence, 80% of the population of Jamaica could not read and write. We're all jumping up for something you had no understanding of. Here you go again, trusting in agents of the crown to liberate you from the crown. Stevie Wonder, if you believe in something you do not understand, you are bound to suffer. So these criminals and the people in this organization called the Jamaica Labour Party, who are presently the administrators of the crown, we're not going to call them a government because they are not. They are merely administrators for the crown. We're going to call them what they are. Remember, the peoples of the members of the PNP executive committee or whoever voted for Mark Golding to be the head of the PNP. But he was not leader of the opposition until the Governor General representing the Queen signed the document. So how powerless are you truly? Don't you see how powerless you are even after all that campaigning and voting? Mark Golding or any Jamaican politicians receive not any true authority from your vote. What the authority that he purports to operate on comes from the damn white people in England that you call the British Crown. You know, so it means that you are still slaves. And then now, the JLP and Cumberlongs and the PNP and Cumberlongs et al. Because we are burn out the People's National Party too, you know, for sitting down silently and letting Jamaica. That means you have to be complicit. The lawyers in the PNP are criminally complicit in the collective. The lawyers in the PNP are criminally complicit in the deception of the Jamaican people. Because if me see something bad happening to you and me not say nothing, it simply means I agree. So the lawyers in the PNP are just as criminally complicit as the Cumberlongs them in the Jamaica Labour Party. No different. One set of drunkards was one upon one wing and the next set of drunkard upon the next wing. Nothing more. So they say now, after them tricking at independence, the so-called Constitution, its first 4 words are an order 5. Its first 5 letters are an order from the Queen. That's what starts this document you purport to call a Constitution. Yes, the document itself is entitled the Order of Jamaica. And the word Constitution is in parenthesis. That means, as per the language of the law, it means that the word Constitution is not even on the page. Once it is in brackets, on the page, in a legal document, any word in bracket is not on the page. It's just there for reference. So it is the Order of Jamaica, 1962. It's an order from the Crown. And from 1962 till now, you have all been slaves operating under the pretext of freedom based on an order from the Crown. Let me repeat that. You people calling yourselves Jamaicans, claiming to be independent, but you are really in dependence, have since 1962 been operating under the pretext of freedom based on a document called the Order of Jamaica 1962 issued by the Crown. So if you did free, how come the Crown give you the document? And then these drunkards and Cumberlands in the PNP and JLP have now decided after 60 years that let's trick them again. And in order to trick you again, they have come up and said, constitutional, you don't want to reform the Constitution. If for Jamaica to truly free, there has to be a referendum voted on by the people on becoming a referendum on becoming a republic. How is it? 15, seriously, Jamaican people. Look how we're powerful around the world. And you would sit and accept 15 people who have all been in service of the British Crown. You are going to trust these 15 people to free you from the... Listen, like John from the dunce one more time. This is what I call monkey see, monkey do. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah. And you see, but specific when we use the word monkey, because that is all monkeys do, them watch and follow. And that's all the people purporting to call themselves Jamaicans are doing. You see and follow. Your granny set our table just like how the white woman did set our table. All you do is mimic your enslaver and attempt to classify that as progress. Do you understand how disgraceful that is? That you mimic your enslaver and purport to call that progress? If the truth shall kill them, let them die. If the truth shall kill them, we say, let them die. So a bunch of bossy slaves on this island called Jamaica been pretending and posing. And then now, you see, the servants of the crown, administrators, functioning administrators, called the Jamaica Labour Party, come and tell them to trickle again and say, yo, we're going to do a constitution. Why you want to reform the document? How, seriously, Jamaican people, do you think there's any progress forward in operating? Because you see, this is the trick, you don't understand what that document is. An operations manual for a corporation. That's all the Constitution is. There needs to be a Republic of Jamaica Charter of Rights that would have been put to referendum and voted on by the people. And when you get X amount of Jamaicans and say, this is how we want to operate, then it becomes a republic. If it's constitutional reform, you're being tricked, black people. The same document from the crown, reforming it how? Why not get rid of it? Are you asking us to accept? You're asking me as a child of the 70s to accept that what the enslavers crafted to control and manipulate us can at any point serve as a developmental tool. Listen again. The so-called document called the Constitution is entitled The Order of Jamaica 1962. That's the title. And it begins by saying, its first 5 words, an order from the crown. So a document designed by your enslavers to control and manipulate and dominate you and to halt your progress and to let you only serve as benefit and asset to them. Because that's what the Commonwealth is, you know. They collect all your taxes and they survive of the wealth of you, the commoners. Listen again. That's all the Commonwealth is. They collect all your taxes. It's the crown that levies tax. So they collect all your taxes. And that is the root and the basis of the Commonwealth, as they are propped up by the wealth of you, them commoners. And you see, you have to hold on to the commoners there, you know, because you can't make it in 2023. Not one of you understand this, and it means it is the dirty Rasta who was waiting on to provide clarity. Henceforth, if we are called to do so, we shall. Let it go on record. That's why we do this, you know. Because you can't, it's there now. Your children are going to come and know just exactly how useless, irrelevant, and nonchalant. They need to start chalanting, but in a nonchalantly sitting down and letting these people manipulate and set up something that your great-great-great-grandchildren will be bound by and oppressed by and see no progress from. You need to start chalanting and sitting down about in a nonchalant. Damn. Scary shit. Believing in something you don't understand means you are bound to suffer, which is what Jamaicans have been doing since 1962. And if you allow, if you don't understand why I say some of these politicians need to be lined up and killed, because this is the greatest level of treachery, you know. Both the drunkers them, the drunk up on the left we say them at PMP and the drunk up on the right we say them at JLP. Both sets of drunkers are responsible for this evening. You know. We're all the lawyers in the PNP, including the PNP leader Mark Golding. You know, Mark? Hey. Yo, if we rip them people apart, you know. They need to be put on walls, them and them family and them children line up and shot. Better yet, gunshot is rather expensive. I suggest we take a Dexter that route and poison them. So you see, It's unfortunate that is the dirty Rasta who is an indigenous who operates outside the purview of those laws, because we have no contracts with the crown. We don't have driver's license, birth certificate, passport, etc., which are all contracts with the crown. How you going to free yourself? Here's the hypocrisy. How not claim to not go free yourself from the crown, and you have not yet been made cognizant of the situation that you are in. So in order for me to effectively free myself from a particular situation, I must have a thorough understanding of that situation. Who has given you an understanding? Has any of your politicians or the legal fraternity don't give a damn about to know? Because this is supposed to be their responsibility. How is it that it's a political thing? The Constitutional Reform Committee. If there was a Constitutional Reform Committee, it's supposed to be the entire legal fraternity. Since it is law, what is certain people doing on it? All the young law students supposed to be busy being a part of charting the future course of Jamaica via a Charter of Rights that would have been put to referendum. That's what they're going to get paid. That's what they're going to last. That's what they're supposed to do at law school. That's what the entire legal fraternity is supposed to say. This is a chance to create something new. And this is the drunk row of the JLP and its mindset, you know. But here Jamaica is gifted with a chance to create something new that can set a global precedence for black people. Come with a proper, get rid of the Queen and come with a proper system that addresses the rights and responsibilities and development of all of us. And it would become a template that all the other melanated countries around the world can use that and say, oh, the Jamaicans did it this way and this is progress is there. I want to get that chance there. And you would all want to sleep on it in ignorance. And have flat screen TV and the most boastest of this and the nicest of that and jacuzzi. You're just a slave. If the truth shall kill them, let them die. So here is Jamaica with a chance to set a precedent to create something great that will become a template for international melanated people development and restructuring of political systems for our own benefit, not for the benefit of somebody else. And the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party would say, would not take advantage of that. You know what they wanted to do? Set up a constitutional reform committee. That means you're not included. The greatest amazing of Jamaican people, them drunkards that sit in God knows, no great like no. And hear me say again, not one elected politician in Jamaica has displayed nowhere near the greatness of the average Jamaican starman, worker, helper, gardener, construction worker, teacher. Not one of these drunkards have displayed not even an iota of the greatness of the... Let me correct myself. There's no such thing as an ordinary Jamaican. We'll never forget, you know, Taylor Hall when Lisa Anna made that statement correcting us and said, Daniel, there's no such thing as an ordinary Jamaican. For real, Miss Anna. We are all extraordinary. As I tell my children, says, to be born a Jamaican or born on this island is a reward for having done something exceptional and wonderful in your former life. That's what it means to be born on this island. And when we met these drunkards in Parliament, sought the opportunity, not just for Jamaica, because Jamaica is here to set a precedence for the global melanated world. We need a Charter of Rights crafted by the young law students. How the rascal to now go set a new blood clot stage in Jamaica and leaving out the young legal minds. And then I see the fuckery of these Jamaican black people. These old men, not even them, most of these men, not even them not even do that eat good, not even them damn cock can stand up good. But it's these men and these waste people and waste women who were born. Listen, here's the hypocrisy again. You're going to ask people who were born before 1962, people who were born as colonials, who grew up saying God save the Queen, to craft for you a developmental part as a liberated people. That's impossible. The whole of them time done. You must understand how worthless them is. That they would see the young law students, the young political aspirants, and not have them be a part. One bunch, 15-old junk. With respect to my senior at Woolman's Boys School, and the man who gave me lots of disciplinary training in the Woolman's Cadet. With respect to Rocky me, but Rocky, you too, you're old. I kick you if you go kick back, you know, retire. How you want to be a part of setting the future for the great-grandchildren? Kick back, man. What is it, you're just sucking up another salary on top of all I want to get already? What you are do on that, Rocky, what me I'm going to do? Even if you're there, we're supposed to have 25 or 30 or 40. The entire law school is supposed to be a part of the Jamaican people pay 90% of the university school fees, including for the law school. So it is incumbent on these young law students to do the best for Jamaica, since the Jamaican people educating them. That means the entire student body of the Norman Manley Law School and any other law school in the island are supposed to be participants in the crafting of a future charter of rights for Jamaica. Doing so based on what they are learning and understanding on the processes of law. Simple. You have a bunch of old people, let me say some of them man and sure. Why are they crafting a future? Them soon dead. So why should they have a hand in crafting a future they are not going to be a part of? You understand the stupidity, black people? They want to reform. Why must you reform? We want to get rid of that document in its entirety and start with something new from scratch that reflects us. Old people can set the trend, and is going to set the parameters of existence and operations for the future. I have to listen to my nephews and my sons. I don't try to tell them how, because I got my chance and I did my do when I should have. So how no, you reach the head of JDF, you reach the head of that, you reach the head of this, and want to set the trend for the future. No. Call in the future. I can imagine someone oppressing the children, and it means they don't put the children up front and give them this is what is being demonstrated. This is the oppression of the youth of Jamaica being made plain here. In the Constitutional Reform Committee with 15 members put together by the drunkards in the JLP and the PNP lies the apparent evidence of the oppression of young Jamaicans, because we have an entire body of young potential legal luminaries at the Norman Manley Law School, and you would not have them be a part of the future that they are going, crafting the future that they are going to live in. When you can set a old blouse and skirt, you don't want to come set, when you're done living to live. Again, me say them still I try tricking the Jamaican people. And I also feel it and it is appalling when you consider where we are at, the potential we have, and the fact that we're not even trying to make something of it. It's there to be done. A proper charter of rights that says Jamaica and every Jamaican is entitled. Hear what they don't want to do, because that's not on the Constitution, you know. There's supposed to be a proper charter of rights that says every Jamaican must have access to hospital, irrelevant of money or availability of cash. And they must have this. And every Jamaican must have this. This is how you implement these things. That means when I care what the money they use for, them thing and the money are going to start, you know, because the charter of rights says so. But they don't want to give you that. They want to reform the existing constitution created by the Crown. They merely desire to reform the existing constitution handed to them by the Crown. Do you understand why we not ram for call them dirty drunker? I'm not going to disrespect my mother and father's lunch money. And the alacrity of just how rotten you are that I acquired from that lunch money. I have no desires for any position more than the ones that the black queens give me. I have no desire for any position greater than the ones that the black queens give me. And here in Jamaica, trust me, we get some good position. Big up to the black woman them on the island. Who know I do it? We're supposed to have a charter of rights that becomes an example of how you set a nation to benefit the people. That means it's supposed to go to referendum. The Electoral Commission a decide for and on the same upon go election, and as many Jamaicans as possible go. And this would have supposed to have been after. Let me show you. Because we criticize and provide answers, you know. We don't just criticize. We show you the apparent error in what you're doing by also providing the correct way to do it. It's elementary. You get the young law students together. You look at all the best Charter of Rights and developmental documentation on the world, and you take from that and say this makes sense. And then you put forward that draft to the Jamaican people. To the Jamaican people. Enough of you little obnoxious bumblefucks behaving like the people in Grant. Because I have explained the most technical concepts of your governance and administration and its mechanisms, and the people understand. So if we are trying to say, if you're not bright, if you can't take the highest concept and communicate it so that a child understands, mean you know nothing. I'm missing my whole levels for all kind of reasons, from the crafts, from the Masonic craft and its deception and the errors of how it implements and how it infiltrates the system, to the highest level of cosmic science and the regular Jamaican. We are driving a center and the man will sell it, the man will sell at the stoplight. I run come on the car and I say, yo, Dad, yo, Bozra, I buy that. Man say, yes, me did get that one there. I'm just understand why them give me a full car. So if we can do it, why them can't do it? Or are we to understand that we are? Are we to understand that we are a phenomenon? Are we to understand that we are greatness in the midst of commonality and mediocrity? Sure. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me if you take the honor from the boys and the girls that I spent my life growing up and studying with, who have inspired me, who I know are brighter than me in many areas and more functional and greater. So if me sure say, me are the dunce in my crew when me party. So if me sure say Jamaica full of greatness and brightness, why these dirty drunkers, 60 are drunk in a parliament and the next set are drunker them in the Senate? Why not behave like the Jamaican people have no parties, uno? 15 people? You think 15 of them they can decide the future path for a 3 million badass Jamaican population? You understand? So that would mean oppression. That's not democracy. That's control and manipulation. It's no reflection of democracy. You know, and then I say, what am I chicken? And they just sit down there, not on the need to start blood clot chalanting. They sit in the fuck down nonchalant. It's going to make it terrible for your great-grandchildren. It will never affect me. I'm on a compound maroon. I'm always operating outside the jurisdiction of your corporate state. And I am the man that will articulate it and can effectively do so. I have been begging to face one on a judge, but they don't want to make no precedents with me, so they avoid me. But that means then that I got through. I mean, I beg nobody to follow me, you know. But we have to go through when I will. And we don't care. We don't care who sits at the head of the table. It doesn't even matter. Because we know that once we enter the room, a whole heap of the energy shift in that direction. Anywhere we stand up. whole of young black men and black women carry that energy when them enter the room on any sphere of operations and functionality. No matter who them say they're head of the table, certain systems enter the room and the whole energy shift down there. So. At this sound of day, Jamaican black people, you are given an opportunity. Again, will you waste it? Because you see, the generation at independence, we're all born British subject. And their idea of progress was just how British and white anything can be. That was their idea of progress, you know. As British and or as white as the thing can be is progressive for them. That was their aspiration. Now when they get a chance after 60 years to correct the thing, set it right, and make it beneficent to all of us on the island. There are two sets of indigenous people, the Maroons and Rastafari. I want to have the opportunity to set it, but when they met the drunk of them are chicken about constitutional reform committee, dirty GLP and drunk of PNP sit down quietly, setting up black people in Jamaica to be trapped again for another 60 years about constitution. We don't want to reform the constitution. We need to tell it. We need to fuck off with the Queen's constitution about reform. We do not want to reform the constitution. We need to fuck off with it and come with a properly beneficent, crafted Charter of Rights for an independent Republic of Jamaica. And that Charter of Rights must be first, its draft must be presented to Jamaican people. You know, the Gleaner and the Star, you know, when it's election time, these damn bumper fucks, you know, you these bumper fucks do when it's election time. You're looking at your letterbox and everything, you see them little flyers and them envelopes with them promotion and where you must vote and which, how to vote and how to make your X. So why not? That is what they're supposed to do for the constitution, for the new Jamaica Charter of Rights, you know. That means that everybody's supposed to see it. So the drunk of them did not send out WhatsApp on your phone and messages on your phone in the COVID coronavirus issue a couple years ago. And they said we're supposed to get sections and copies of that new Charter of Rights in your phone. That means you're supposed to hear ping when you're looking at your phone and it says the Jamaica Charter of Rights Committee, and it says as far as it goes to women's health, this is what we are suggesting, that women must have the right to do this, every girl must have to do that, they must have maternity leave, they must it must be acknowledged and catered to that when they are having menstrual issues, it is treated just as much as maternity leave with that respect. And we entrench these things. We entrench it in our Charter of Rights that every Jamaican child, whether irrespective of religion, culture, traditions, hairstyle, because these things are not entrenched, why them throw it or rust out of school, you know. These things must be in the Charter of Rights. Jamaica has no Charter of Rights. It has an operations manual. That's what we're supposed to do. And then that first, you set out the draft. They say, okay, by September so-and-so, and every Jamaica must get a chance to contribute to its adjustment. That means that Jamaica is supposed to get that WhatsApp from the Charter of Rights Committee. In them phone, they said, you know, I give out, it was getting into everybody's phone and sending them messages during the COVID. Same system again. You drunkards at the telephone company, so just make the people do that same, facilitate it. So a Jamaican young lady who is lecturing in the university or studying sociology and social work, who was paying attention to certain particular aspects of, for example, of female issues, will get that message and say, oh, and then she can respond to the committee. The people must partake. Michael Manley said that. The people must partake. And after 60 years, one of bossy slaves posing a nice institution, well dressed, would sit down and let 15 people. This is supposed to go to referendum. This issue is supposed to go to referendum, man. The people must partake. I want to leave out black people out of the thing and they're not going to claim that them and not do it for life. The Independent Republic of Jamaica is supposed to come with its own originally crafted Charter of Rights. A constitution reform means that we're still working and owned by the Queen, but we're just going to not say it on paper. Let me explain to you what constitutional reform means. It means that you will still, it's basically saying, we will still be working and subject to the crown and under its auspices and control, but we're not going to say it outwardly. That's all constitutional reform means. Nothing will change. We're just going to change some of the words on the paper. That is what constitutional reform means. Fundamentals won't change. We will just make adjustments to the wording. That's all it means. And that's no one. While remaining entrapped and enslaved under the British system after 60 years. The law students of the island are ready. We have spoken to a number of them. And do not, listen, I do not understand. The young people, them vexing up. They probably can't do like a Bozra. They probably do not have the understanding, the force, the fearlessness. They're fearless in other areas. But then probably young and I say, boy, I have to do that, I have to do that for go through. So I don't want to rock the boat. I will kick the boat over, burn it to the ashes, and build a super yacht. Fuck on a rowboat standard for Jamaican people. Kick over and burn down the rowboat and make we build a super yacht with a helicopter pad and blouse and skirt, all a landing strip. The highest. This is where we have to go. Jamaica needs a Charter of Rights. And how can you have the law? I want to have some 80 and 60 and 70 year old people who, let me say, some man who cannot get a stiff cocky for fuck them wife. But at them who don't want to be in charge of craft in the future. You're sick. And then ask Rasta and ask edified, articulate indigenous kings to buy into that bullshit. Do you know my father? Do you understand the kind of lion that he was and the fact that he grew no pussycats in the house? You understand the standards that this is the man that walked away from $1 million US for nothing more than black integrity. He don't want apartheid money. We are held to higher standards, not your standards, because you had nothing to do with my formation, crafting, culturalization, and preparation to be a man. He had a lot to do with it. And we will never disgrace my daddy. You're mad? Sure. Yeah, Friday was this Earth Strong, you know? We thank him. Big up to my mother and my father for not using a condom, you know? Subsequently blessing the girl with fabulous Rastafari. And uno now with this opportunity as Jamaica would give it away. People can't make them trick, you know. We are the force. 60 of them in a parliament. And how much of them in the Senate. They're not even elected. They should not be the ones. They cannot be the ones. Because this is the problem. You have been carrying a baton. Let it go. Somebody can't tell the dirty drunkards in the PNP and the JLP. Some nigga old man and some nigga old people who supposed to sit down and also spoil them grand picnic still want control the future of the children yet born. No, man. Let it go and let the youth them flourish, man. It means that I feel if a phone of picnic, and that means they're still competing within the children. I'm here to support mine. I'm here to support the young people and share what wisdom and knowledge and experience I have so they can take us forward. I'm not trying to say we are going to do it. We must play a role guiding them to do it, or else we would have failed. If 50 and 60-year-old and 70-year-old Jamaican politicians think it is incumbent on them to craft the way for Jamaica's future, it means that they're simply saying that they have no confidence in the 30-year-olds and the 27-year-olds too, law students, and the ones who graduate, and the sociologists. That is what they're saying, and I say, oh no, we not trust you no. They claim to be doing this for the youths, but then they don't trust the youths to do it. No, them power hungry. The independent Republic of Jamaica must have a newly crafted Charter of Rights, and that Charter of Rights, which would include within it the tenets of the formation of this new independent Republic of Jamaica. You see, here's the thing. That vote on that referendum by the people of Jamaica is also the vote that legitimizing separating from the Queen. If there's no if there is no vote, it means dirty drunkard GLP and PPNP trying to chicken up. If there's not a national vote, because that vote will remove, it says that we the people want to separate from the Queen and operate under this document. If that's not happening, if they're not having a referendum, black people, if they're simply saying that they're going to put 15 people and have a constitutional reform committee, means that they're not trying to remove themselves from the Queen. Unless there's a referendum by the people, it means the Queen shall still be in charge. And the British Crown, or King, whatever, it is the British Crown that will reap all the benefits and collect all the taxes and be the shareholders and owners of this thing called the state of Jamaica. Unless there is a referendum by the people, and it shows that, and the world can see that out of 3 million Jamaicans, say 1.6 votes say them want to get rid of the Queen. If that can't happen, you have not gotten rid of the Queen. Don't make these dirty drunkards trick, unless there is a referendum that the world can see, then it means you are still under the governance and auspices of the British Crown. Unless the world can say, oh, on this day the Jamaicans had a referendum and 1.6 million Jamaicans voted as a collective decision to remove themselves from the Crown. Unless the world sees that, unless that is demonstrated to the world, it means anything the so-called Constitutional Reform Committee telling you is a scam, and you will still be under the governorship and auspices of the British Crown. If you believe in something you do not understand, then you are bound to suffer. History shall bear that Daniel Z. Bozra explained and presented unquestioning alacrity on these understandings and issues. It means that you are now at a point of potential judgment, because you cannot say, we did not know. It has been made plain, straight, and clear. Even the dunces can't understand that. It's time for you to stop playing monkey see, monkey do. I've got a right to be wrong. My mistakes will make me strong. I'm looking out into the great unknown. I'm feeling wings although I've never flown. I've got a mind of my own. I'm flesh and blood to the bone. I'm not made of stone. I've got a right to be wrong. So just leave me alone. I've got a right to be wrong. I'm gonna sing my own song. I might be singing out of key, but it sure feels good to me. I've got a right to be wrong. So just leave me alone. You're entitled to your opinion, but it's really my decision. I can't turn back, I'm on a mission. If you care, don't you dare blur my vision. Let me be all that I can be. Don't smother me with your negativity. Whatever is out there waiting for me, I'm gonna face it willingly. I've got a right to be wrong. My mistakes will make me strong. Yeah, we're looking out to the great unknown. With flesh and blood to the bone. Let us do for ourselves. We have a right to be wrong. So since all them other people have done things for us and it was wrong, our time for be wrong for ourselves. Better it go so than them are wrong for we. If it's not put to referendum, Jamaican people, you're getting scammed. Do not trust those drunkards. PNP and JLP need to shake up. Do not let them scam you just as in 62.